trade a massage therapist, a Reiki healer, a doula. I am by nature a spiritual life coach, so I'll be introducing that as a service here in this space. And also I do yoni steaming, which is a new service that we're introducing to my practice as well. I'm an herbalist because that's what I use herbs and so to heal, and so we've created a space here as well, the apothecary. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but Meshika and I are both herbalists actually.
Yeah, and my name is Meshika Stewart. My background by way of education is in accounting and business. I worked for public accounting, one of the big 4 accounting firms. I also worked for Johnson Controls here in Milwaukee for about 8 years. And then lastly, my last position was at Walmart, so I was in Bentonville, Arkansas as a corporate director in accounting. And I just always had this intuition for naturalists, just really appreciating what God has provided us. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I've just had a really strong interest in pursuing that. And so that's my background educationally, but I always had a passion around herbs and natural remedies and holistic health.
First question that I kind of want to get into before we go any further, because I feel like having apothecary shops is not typical in our city. You know what I mean? It's not normal. It's not a lot of people doing that or getting into it. So with that being said, you know, what is it that you guys plan on bringing to the table?
Oh gosh. Awareness, expansion, just coming into a space like this and looking at the herbs and wondering, what is this? Is the first question that needs to be asked to that acts as an invitation for the knowledge and the gifts that the herbs offer us in terms of medicine and just nutrition for a healthy life. An apothecary is what pharmacies were called historically, and I don't even like to compare the two, but what medicine was called historically when it was rooted in herbs and homeopathy, more natural healing methods. And so when the industry, Western medicine, turned more to chemical-based pharmaceuticals, it became pharmacy, the drug industry. And so we just want to increase awareness that these herbs are food. Some of these things you might find in your background and not in your backyard and not even know it.
Right.
But it's food. It's medicine for you. The animals go to these plants when they have different ailments. They almost by nature know to go and eat dandelion root if they have some liver issues. They know what to eat. So, and our bodies do too. We just want to reignite that knowledge and awareness of what God has placed in the earth for us as medicine.
Bringing awareness to this is essential in our community, especially because like it seems that the rate of people being addicted to drugs and like pills and stuff like that is just increasing steadily and steadily. So going just, you know, talking about Honeybee Sage, you know, how was that founded? What happened? What's the story?
Well, I've been informally practicing and studying herbs for a long time. I'm by trade a massage therapist, so I've been a massage therapist for about 7 years. But right after I got out of massage school, I really prayed to learn how to heal with nutrition and herbs. So at that point, I just knew that at some point this would be fate for me. And I wanted to do it within the community here because I would go out to the outskirts of Wauwatosa and hang out in Outposts and Whole Foods, things like that, to study and pick up herbs. But long story short, I've been using herbs to heal myself for some time, and I'll share what I learned, and people would ask. So I thought, let me just make this available.
Right. So what's your spiel on it? Like, I mean, you coming from accounting background, you know what I mean? You did that for years, you know? And like I said, since we're family, I've been able to see you, you know, right after college, you know what I mean? You hopped right into it, and you had a passion for it. So, and now you're here, though.
So, you know, being in corporate America, it was a great experience, but it can be very stressful. You start to eat differently because you're under a lot of stress and time. And so I would eat at my desk and stay late at night, and I used to get sick. You know, just eating a lot of fast food or to-go orders and things like that. And so I started to do research to help myself. For a while, I was going to the doctor, and they were just giving me, you know, kind of pills to take. And yeah, it might help for a minute, but then I'll have a side effect here. So I just started to just engage and look into other alternative methods to kind of help me feel better. And once I felt like it was starting to work, it just sparked me. Like, okay, well, I don't need to swallow these pills. I always had a problem swallowing pills. So I said, I don't need to swallow these pills. Let me do some different research. Let me go on a fast. Let me do a juice cleanse. And then that kind of led me to different herbs that I can start to, you know, investigate and see how that can help me. Even with my parents or family members, I try to see what's going on with them, and I'll do some research on that and help them. And I just felt like that was something that gave me passion even outside of accounting. And so that's kind of what put me in this position. I was in Arkansas just 6 months ago before I moved, and I used to drive up to Eureka Springs. I was living in Bentonville. Eureka Springs was like an hour and a half away. And there was an apothecary up there where I was able to kind of fellowship with some older women and understand herbs and, you know, how to mix it, how to do teas, tinctures, and tonics. And I said, you know what? This is it. You know, like, I love their tribe, and I love their community up there, and I had this energy that I wasn't getting in an office with no windows, with people under pressure and stress and backstabbing you, and I just didn't want to continue to be in that environment because I wasn't thriving.
I love that, man, because I just feel like it's so essential for you to actually find whatever your purpose is. And I mean, like, you can have a skill set, you know what I mean, and you can pursue that, but there's nothing like making a difference and actually following something that's really almost natural to you, nature to you. Like, it's a part of your lifestyle. My next question is Honeybee Sage. You know, what does that mean?
Honeybee Sage. Honeybees thrive in community, and they are very important to the world. If honeybees cease to be, I think we're given like and I might be being too generous, a few years to continue to live on this planet, because honeybees, they populate the earth. They pollinate the plants of the earth that provide nutrition for us. So I feel like in terms of people of color all across the globe, we have so much to offer, but then a lot of us are being pillaged for our gifts and our talents, and not appreciated, underappreciated. And we offer so much to not just America, but the world in general. And so I feel like the message of the honeybees, and honeybees are also matriarchal. They honor the women, the woman, the queen bee, the female aspect. And so in traditional African cultures, the woman was revered, and because she gave birth to the baby, she created the workers and all the other bees. And so because we have such a heart for women's health, that really influences the name honeybee. So sage means wisdom, and it's also a healing herb. So we put the two together, and it's a community of healing wisdom, sacred wisdom, sweet wisdom for life, love, and wellness.
What can people expect as far as how to get more information about everything that you guys have going on, or maybe even learning more about the different herbs that can do all the things that they're able to do?
So the ultimate goal is that we become our own healers, each of us individually. You have the kingdom of God is within you. So you have all the information and the wisdom for life and abundance right in you. And so we're here to help cultivate that and remind you of that. So we created this space so you can come in with your exploration or exploratory mind and come in like children, like, oh my God, what do you use this for? What do you use this for? And although we will be here to offer guidance and helping you on some level, eventually the herbs that we have labeled now just with the herb name will have the properties that the herb contains, and the most common healing benefits that you can expect from them. So we want you to come in and treat this like your pharmacy. When it's really your grocery store, because this is food and it's not going to do any harm to you. Now, there are certain things that you can expect from Healing with Herbs that will teach about that, but we will provide classes to help get you more acquainted with the space and with the herbs and all the other healing and metaphysical gifts that we have here. The key is education and exposure. We feel like if you know, you'll make the choice. You are your own healer. I can't do it for you. Meshika can't do it for you, but we can be guides in the process.
Yeah. I could see so many great things happening, like just like what you said, especially with the area that this is in. If you don't know, although we will get a plug at the end of the video, we right here on 35th and Fond du Lac. You know what I mean? Right here on 35th and Fond du Lac, right next door to District 7. And just this area is a really good place to dish out some new information. So, what is your overall mission? What's the vision?
Mission is to expose this community to things that we already know in our DNA. Meshika and I both have stories, and I'll let her share hers of her influence and how, as young children, we were influenced by natural remedies. Grandma Angela and my brother, I'll never forget it. Maybe I was around 7 or 8. My brother got stung by a wasp. On Aunt Jean's porch on 8th and Ring, and so I never forget it. She said, "Babe, get some cigarette ashes and put on that." Charcoal is a drawing agent, and it draws the stinger out, draws the inflammation out of a wound. I was like, what? So, and when we got ear infections, I grew up and spent some time in Mississippi, so we didn't run to the doctor every time we got sick. We got an ear infection. Grandma, put some sweet oil in that baby's ear. Warm some sweet oil, put it in that baby's ear. Sweet oil is olive oil. Put a little cotton ball behind it. And a castor oil. The things that were natural, that's what we use for medicine. And there was a whole remedy. There was a whole process of how to do this. I hear that my great-grandma Betty would go to the woods in the winter, just before the winter, and gather herbs and roots and store it. The apothecary, the storehouse, store it up for medicine, for illnesses that might come in the wintertime. I had a great uncle who I like to think that maybe I'm channeling, Gertrude Horton, Uncle Buddy, my grandmother's uncle, who was an herbalist in the South. So a lot of influences in my DNA that I resonate with. And Meshika has an aunt who visited us today.
Yeah, my Aunt Floria, she always kind of would use different herbs and spices and teas and, mix that up. And she showed me how to do some of those things. And I was very much inspired by that. My parents, my mom used to be like, oh, you need some cod liver oil, that'll help. Or you need to take that. And apple cider vinegar. My daddy drank apple cider vinegar every day. And he is a very healthy man, very, well put together. And so just being around that and seeing these natural remedies, he would tell me stories. Yeah, I remember when I was little, my grandmother used to go out in the woods, get some tree bark and some leaves and boil that up and put us to bed. Yes. And so we want to really get back to that. My grandmother, Lily Stewart, I would sit and talk to her, and she would share stories from the 1920s and share things that how her grandparents or parents would really use natural remedies to really heal their family. None of I believe my parents or their sisters and brothers were born in a hospital. They had doulas, they had midwives that would come and care for them and then, deliver those babies. So we really want to go back to that, to our tribe and really what we were brought here to do and understand how we take care of each other.
Yeah. So, and what I like that both of you guys said is that you said process, the word process. And when I think of process, because we're talking about remedies and whatnot, as opposed to what is now being used. And I believe that right now we're in not only a generation, but the times that we're in, people want stuff like this. Want stuff that's going to work like this. And you know what I mean? So like when it comes to that, how do you approach someone who feels that, why do that when I could just pop a pill?
So honeybees thrive in community. So if we pull a community together, we have accountability and we create accountability with one another. So if I'm going by Meshika's house and we're having dinner, she's serving what I eat. Based on the decisions that we've made and the accountability that we hold to help preserve health. If we're going out to eat, and I'm like, girl, we could just have this cookie just once. She like, Angela,
we don't need that sugar.
Come on.
Here's why.
Let's grab a salad with some pears or apples on it.
You know what got me was I did a fast. I did a 10-day fast recently, and I'll be honest. When I got to day 4 and 5, I had headaches. I was sick. I was weak. And it was because I was suffering from withdrawals from meat and sugar, and I had to pray. It was a spiritual situation. I had to pray to get myself through that. I had to read to keep me strong and focused on that. When I got to day 6 and 7, I was fine. Yeah, I was fine. Eating what? You know, I was just. It was a water fast. Right. Day 10, I got through 10 days, but I'll tell you, I had to realize, even with myself, my body was so full of toxins, and I was craving some of those foods because the parasites want it. And it's an addiction. They call it, it's an addiction. Yeah. Sugar is the #1 addiction in our community.
They compare
meat
it to
is
cocaine.
second, you know? And so once we start to understand that and we losing control by food, I think we want to bring that control back through ways of fasting and using herbal remedies to sustain ourselves. We need to be here for our kids. We need to be here for our grandkids. And the way that we eat in our lifestyle can cut that short. And so we want to be able to offer education for you so that we all understand what we can do so that we can live in that way and as a community.
And leave legacies of health. We like to think, oh, my grandma, my family, we got diabetes. So we almost take that as a sentence.
It's in my family. Absolutely. No, it's in your family because we put it in our family.
There's a saying in medicine, in herbal medicine that goes, DNA may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if your grandmother, great-grandmother, and your mother lived a lifestyle where they ate sugar every night we had ice cream and we ate all of these different things that created the malady in the first place, then while you were incubating in your mom's womb, that energy, that the source of her health or the lack thereof was being planted in your DNA. So you came in here behind the 8 ball already. You came in already set up for failure, right? Yeah. And your parents don't know. Our parents didn't know. We just do what's culturally appropriate, right? Exactly. We gonna eat soul food and we gonna pound cake and sweet potato pie. How much dessert do you have at Christmas and Thanksgiving? No, we're gonna let you get through Christmas and Thanksgiving. Right. But it'll be. We're starting this conversation now because we want you to pay attention to how you feel. After I eat Christmas dinner, I have to take a nap. Literally, I feel like I'm almost passing out. That's diabetic. That's hypoglycemic type of things. And so when we use that as a practice, when that's a way of life, the DNA loads the gun. But if you continue the lifestyle that you were taught that didn't contribute to health, you pulling the trigger on your own self. So if we start a trend of paying attention to what happens when we interact with certain foods, certain people, certain environments, we can make a choice. We are not armed with choices right now. We're addicted. We're addicted. So our addictions are in control of us.
Yep. When I got out of that fast, my whole palate changed. You talked about, maybe slowing down on meats or sugar. I got off that fast, and when I ate something sweet, it was gross because my body was detoxifying. I wasn't craving that anymore, and so when I started to eat that again, I had no desire for it. Right. I have really no desire for pork or beef, and I could eat a mean burger back in the day, but it tastes weird. Now when I eat certain meat on the bone, I feel like I can taste the marrow and the carcass of it. And I'm not trying to, step on any toes. I'm just saying how I feel. Because I took a break from it and my body was like, this is what I need. I crave green smoothies. I want spinach and kale and fruits and all of that because my body craves that.
We want to stop feeding conditions and feeding emotions, and we want to start nourishing the body and nurturing the spirit.
This is just the beginning where our vision is to spread this kind of an opportunity and education in other cities across the United States and across the world. Because we need it and we can do it and we will accomplish it. I'm putting it out here, we're going to manifest it.
There y'all have it. Thank y'all so much again. We love y'all so much. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please hit the like button, the love button, the share button. You already know this. Until next time, we love y'all.
Thank you.
Peace.